morning and welcome back to One Man, One Project. My name is Dennis Kidtop. I am one man. I'm coming to you today from West Falmouth, Massachusetts on beautiful Cape Cod. It just quit raining again, so I want to try to get the explanation about the deck in for you so you can see what I'm doing and how you too can do this all on your own. Typically you're going to have an architect, you're going to have electrical engineer, plumbing engineer, heating engineer, a design professional, at least a half a dozen people doing what I'm doing. Well, I don't have that choice here because I made the choice not to have anybody help me in a way. So I wanted to build a deck. I had existing footings that I was going to use. I knew what I wanted for the height of my deck. I knew what my spans were, so that's where I started. So what I did is I went to the computer and I typed in floor joist spans, and what came up was this. The American Wood Council. I had heard of them, so I clicked on that one. So I went into it, and this is for the beams. I wanted to figure out my span. I'm using Southern Yellow Pine. I'm using two 2x12s, and my centers are 8 feet, so I can go up to 12 feet span, so I know that my 2x12s would work. I knew I wanted to use a 2x10 joist, so I could bring it all the way up to the bottom of the door. So I typed in my stuff. 15 feet 10 inches is what came up. I told them when it comes up, it'll have to fill in some questions. What size joist? What you're loading? A deck, outside deck, is normally 40 and 10. 40 live load, that's people, and 10 dead load, that's the weight of the material itself. So I went to the chart, figured out what I needed. I'm using Southern Yellow Pine. I'm using 2x10, and I'm 16 inch on centers, and I'm 15 feet 10 inches. And then I knew that I was going to put a ledger board on, so that shows the detail of the ledger board. It shows you the spacing and layouts for your bolt patterns. The funny thing is, it's what I would have done. I would have spaced them. They say 18. I put them in 16 anyway, so that I could work between the joists. I'll show you that when I go outside. But it even goes down to the detail of how you put your screws in your decking, what size they're supposed to be. So, taking all this information, I went out and measured everything, made a drawing that I'll turn into the building department. Don't be laughing, Garen. Don't be laughing now. And then I took another one, and I made all my details out. I went into the Simpson book and figured out what all my anchors would have to be. And then I went outside here, and I'll show you what I did. First of all, I think I remember telling you that out here it was, all the water was pitching towards the house. Don't do that. Get the water away from your house. Always. Always, always, always. Water is a house's worst enemy except for fire. So what I did is I brought in some gravel. We call it CA6 in Chicago. It's white. You have it in your driveway if it isn't covered with asphalt or concrete. But look, out here it's black. It's totally cool. I'm liking it a lot. So what I did is I laid out the deck. Where my posts are, I'm going to bring those up 4 inches. And then I'm going to put my post-based anchors on. One of the first things I did is I strung a line on my lot line. We're over the lot line down there. I should be further out, but I'm not gonna. I talked to the building inspector. He said since it was existing, even though you're rebuilding it, and it's only 3 inches off, blah, 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 he'll let me go ahead and keep it where it was because of my footings. So I strung my line so I'd make sure where my deck was. I laid out all my deck. Sorry, the wind got my paper. So the old deck used to stop right there. You can kind of see where the steps were. So I've increased it maybe 4 feet. What I did is we come off the deck instead of straight, because you can come off and turn to the right or to the left. So this will be the first step downs right there. Second one will be to the ground. and then you'll land right on the new rocks I'm putting. All this grade will come up. It still leaves me about 5 feet. That's where my shower is going to go, the outside shower. That hole will be filled in so I don't have a vented crawl space. It's silly to have a vented crawl space. That means whatever it is, the temperature outside is going to be inside. So I'll be putting in my shower. It'll look way cooler than that. I got a great idea, but I gotta have it up before I show you. We moved the fill and the vent for the old fuel tank because they do use heating oil out here on the Cape. So I filled that in with water stop, so we won't have any problems there. And then the section that I want to keep water out of my house. So there's my plywood. I held my ice and water shield down about 1 inch. Then my Tyvek paper. Then my breather mat. I used a plastic lumber for the part that's going to go against the house. There's my block, 3/4 of an inch. Code is a 1/2 inch gap, but when I put my boards on, I'll create that 1/2 inch gap. So what happens is water comes down this wall. It can't get in because I have my flashing. Even if it does get in, we have that area right there so water can go down if something did get behind the shingles. Very unlikely. So I'm going to show you the details here. After I put my floor joists in, I put ice and water shield on the top. Thing about ice and water shield is when you put a screw through there, it seals the hole. So even if you were to take the deck off, all your joists are going to be in real fine shape. Then I have my lumber on. We're just using a standard $2 a square foot womanized lumber. Then I'll be taking my shingles up off of that. So what I did is I built my ledger. That's my ledger board. It's got all my joists. I laid everything out all through those dimensions that are in there just to make sure I did it the way it's wanted by code. Again, I went a little closer on my centers so that when I'm using my electric wrench, you know, I'm between the boards. I'm not fighting myself like I am over here on this one. This one will be a little tough. I pitched that was, remember, this is the old stoop. Everything was pitching towards the house. I just put concrete in to get it away from the house. My joists are going to be a little thin, not as tall here. I can't get my 2x10s in. So I'll be running a box header. I'll show you how I do that when I go to build it. But I'll get these up, just the boards, just that part all the way around. What that allows me to do is get my shingles in. See, I have them up there around the vent. That way I can get all my coursing correct and get that bad boy up. So that's the reason for my deck here. The other thing I have to do is the water pitches in back here underneath the sun porch. So I'm going to be tossing gravel in there. There'll be plastic on top of the gravel. Like here, I built it up at least 5-6 inches. When I'm all done, right before I put my floor joists in, I'll be putting down plastic. I'll be taping it to the wall, and then I'll throw a little gravel on top of it. I'll be closing up these areas all the way around the sunroom. And the way my deck's working out, there is no room for rodents to get in, but I will have to take and put in some blocking to keep them out. There's that one spot between the beam that's carrying all the floor joists they could get in. So anyway, that's it for the deck for now. I'm going to go back in and finish all my strapping in the basement. And then I think I'm going to do the warm board piping in the guest bathroom. We are going to be able to set the showers and have our rough inspection by the end of this week. To set the tubs, I have to get the warm board, the piping installed, so I'll do that next. So thanks. This is one man, one project. I am one man doing everything by myself and loving every minute of it. It's the Cape Project. Thanks, Ed and Vivi, for the opportunity of a lifetime, one of many I've been given. And have a great day. I'll see you yet today. My son Alex is coming today. See ya.